Hello boys and girls, this is Mr. C again, and today I have some geometry vocabulary for you to learn. In between I'm going to give you some jokes, so stay tuned, okay? Alright, let's begin. We're going to study a few of these, and I'm going to tell you the word in Spanish. A rectangular prism is a solid figure with faces that are rectangles. A prism is simply a box, and it has rectangular faces all throughout, so it's a rectangular prism. Prisma rectangular. Let's go to a solid figure. A solid figure is simply a geometric figure that has length, width, and height. It is a geometric figure that has 3 dimensions: length, width, and height. Cuerpo geométrico. Why did the math book look so sad? Because it had so many problems. Next up, we have a pyramid. A pyramid is a solid figure whose base is a polygon and whose faces are triangles with a common point. Pirámide. Next up, we have a cube. A cube is a solid figure with 6 faces that are congruent squares. Keyword here is congruent. Congruent means same size, same shape. Remember that. Same size, same shape, congruent. Same size, same shape, congruent. So, a cube is a solid figure with 6 faces that are congruent squares. You can see that they're all congruent. Cubo. Next up we have a cone. A cone is a solid figure with a circle as its base and a curved surface that meets at a point called the vertex. You can see that there's a vertex right here, and it has a curved surface. And it has a circle as its base. This is why it's called a cone or cono. Why do plants hate math? Because it gives them square roots. Next up we have the cylinder. The cylinder is a solid figure with 2 congruent circles as bases. You remember what I told you congruent was? Congruent, same size, same shape. So 2 congruent circles as its bases. That is a cylinder. Cilindro. Let's go on to our next page. We have face, sphere, vertex, edge, point, and vertices. Let's begin with face. What is a face, you ask? Let me tell you. A face is a flat surface of a solid figure that does not roll. So this figure has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces. Caras. Next up we have a sphere. A sphere is a solid figure in the shape of a ball. Esfera. Please don't confuse this with a circle. A sphere is actually a 3-dimensional figure, as opposed to a circle that's just a flat drawing. Sphere. Cara. Esfera. What did the acorn say when it grew up? Geometry. Next up we have vertex. A vertex is a point where 3 or more edges meet in a solid figure that does not roll. So you can see there's a vertex right here. All right. So a vertex is the point where 3 or more edges meet in a solid figure that does not roll. Vértice. Next up we have edge. What is an edge, you ask? An edge is a line segment where 2 faces of a solid figure meet. Here's an edge. There's an edge. There's an edge. There's many edges. How many edges does this figure have? Okay. Arista. Next up we have point. What is a point, you ask? Well, a point is an exact position often marked by a dot. An exact position often marked by a dot, such as this one right here. Punto. Why did the kid eat his math homework? Well, because his teacher told him it was a piece of cake. Vertices. That's simply the plural form of vertex. Remember we studied the word vertex? Vertices is many of them. Vértices. Let's go on to the next page. Next up we have, let's see, what do we have next? We have line segment, we have line, we have parallel lines, we have intersecting lines, we have angles, and we have rays. Let's talk about line segment. A line segment is simply a part of a line with two endpoints. You can see that this is only a segment because it ends. It ends on this side and it ends on this side. That means the line stops right there. That is shown to you or represented by dots. If you see a dot on the end of each line, that means it ends right there. As opposed to before I go on, line segment is segmento de recta. As opposed to a line just keeps going, okay? A line is a set of points that is endless in two directions. You can see that the arrows are on either side. When you see the arrows on either side, that means it keeps going infinitely. So it'll just keep going and going and going. So that's a line, recta. What do you call an empty parrot cage? Polygon. Let's look at parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that never cross. You can see that these lines right here will never cross. They will always keep the same distance. They will always keep the same distance no matter how long we keep drawing them. If we keep drawing them, they will never meet. They will always keep the same distance. That's a parallel line. Líneas paralelas. Líneas paralelas. How can you make time fly? Throw a clock out the window. Next up we have intersecting lines. Intersecting lines are lines that cross at one point. You can see that right here, this line and then this line, they intersected at this point. That means they met there. So these are intersecting lines. Líneas intersecantes. So let's stop right there. We will continue our vocabulary lesson later. I hope you have learned what all of these are. We studied parallel lines, intersecting lines, line segments, lines. Let's see, we studied what a face is, what a sphere is, what a vertex is, what an edge is, a point, vertices. We studied cones, cylinder, cube, pyramid, rectangular prism, and solid figure. Thank you for watching.